Las Vegas. Long before Las Vegas emerged as a viable landing spot for Mark Davis and his Oakland Raiders, and the state of Nevada pledged $750 million to help build them a stadium, and the National Football League approved the Silver and Black's relocation here, the Raiders owner was already pointed in Southern Nevada's direction. It came in the form of a heads-up from a Davis friend back in the 1990s about the cost-savings benefit of owning a cell phone with a Las Vegas area code number. Back in the day, Vegas cell phones were one of the first to allow users to make national calls without incurring costly roaming charges. Davis, not too proud to take advantage of a deal, immediately purchased a phone with a 702 area code. Seeing as all his friends and colleagues memorized the number, and not wanting to put them through the hassle of learning a new one, Davis simply kept it over the years. He still has it to this day, much to the surprise of his new associates in Nevada. Like Steve Hill, who helped negotiate Nevada's stadium deal as the head of Governor Brian Sandoval's Office of Economic Development. 2 years ago, when the Raiders first turned their eye on Las Vegas, Hill's cell phone buzzed with an incoming call from a 702 number. Much to his astonishment, it was Davis on the other end. Sign up for Home Turf and get exclusive stories every Sokol sports fan must read, sent daily. Subscribe here. Well, that didn't take long, Hill thought to himself. Did you already get a Las Vegas phone, he asked Davis. Nah, I've had this number for years, Davis told him. Turns out the bridge that will soon deliver the Raiders to Las Vegas was hovering in the universe well before the NFL greenlighted their move here in March of 2017. A little over a year and a half later, and 2 years before they officially land here as residents, the Raiders have planted roots so deep and prominent they already seem like a long-time member of the community. You can already feel their presence, said Judy Hoff, who spent 30 years in the hotel and casino industry and now drives part-time for Uber. Hoff's travels throughout the course of a day often mean driving alongside 62 acres on Russell Road just off the south side of Interstate 15, on which the Raiders' $1.9 billion, 65,000-seat state-of-the-art stadium is currently rising from the ground. It means everything to this community, Hoff said. It's a tremendous source of pride, said Cheryl Burnham, a longtime Las Vegas resident and president of the 702 Raider Nation Booster Club, driving past the stadium now and seeing the walls up and all the cranes out there and more than 700 people working on it and how it's all coming to life is awesome. I can't wait for the ribbon-cutting ceremony, let alone opening weekend. The entire community feels the same way. This is long overdue for us. The soon-to-be sparkling new stadium is just one of the anchors the Raiders have dropped in Las Vegas. Their plush, Raiders-centric stadium preview center is up and running at the high-end Town Square shopping center on Las Vegas Boulevard, offering future ticket and suite owners an elegant atmosphere to interactively view and experience the new stadium. The sales center officially opened in February, and soon after suite and club seats went on sale. The local response has been impressive. It took only 60 days for the Raiders to sell out their luxury club seats, which came with a personal seat license price ranging between $20,000 and $75,000. And they're well on the way to securing ownership for 100 executive suites thanks to a robust corporate base anchored by, but not limited to, the hotel and gaming industry. We have a healthy number of non-gaming industries in place, said Hill, now chair of the Las Vegas Stadium Authority, which will own and operate the new venue. It's not the focus many people have when they think about Las Vegas. But it's becoming a much more diverse economy, and that just helps when it comes to attracting a sports franchise. Of those club seats, approximately 70% were gobbled up by Las Vegas area residents, with Los Angeles and Oakland picking up a significant portion of the other 30%. The Raiders expect similar ratios when they put their remaining tickets on sale within the next few months. This community is absolutely ready and able to support the Raiders from a fan and corporate perspective, said Jeff Burnham, a Las Vegas area real estate agent. You have to give the Raiders credit for making such a compelling argument and showing that this market is a viable option. A short walk from the Showcase Center is an official Raiders team store, and on a recent morning it was buzzing with customers dropping in from all over the country. In nearby Henderson, construction will soon begin on the Raiders' state-of-the-art headquarters and practice facility. The 55-acre parcel of land leaves plenty of room to eventually develop a year-round entertainment and retail hub. It's a game-changer for us, said Henderson Mayor Deborah March. This entire region will benefit in terms of jobs and tax revenue. and we're ready to welcome them with open arms. That process has already started. Meanwhile, current Raiders players and past greats are continually circulating through Las Vegas, taking part in community events and appearances. And a staff of 80 employees is already in place at a temporary home base in Las Vegas. Everywhere you look, it seems, there are reminders of the Raiders' pending arrival. They're already here. They're already a part of the fabric of the community, said Hill. They've done a great job of that. It's just part of who they are. Or, as Davis explains, we've always said, whatever city gets a professional sports franchise is getting so much more than just 10 game days. In the Raiders' case, you're getting us 365 days a year. And beware, Las Vegas. This is just the beginning. At some point in the next 2 years, they're going to find out that the Raiders coming to town is like an army coming to town, Davis said. The alumni and everyone else, as well as the current players, going to the schools, working with charities, working with the military. It's all that stuff that goes on behind the scenes, so to speak, that people don't really talk about every day but is truly a part of the value of having a franchise in the community. As for the Davis himself, let's just say he has become a man about town in short order. In fact, during a recent 3-day period he attended a Gwen Stefani concert at Planet Hollywood, hooked up and distributed a barbecue lunch for stadium construction workers and took in a Las Vegas Aces WNBA basketball game. It's standard protocol for Davis, who was a frequent presence at T-Mobile Arena watching the first-year Las Vegas Golden Knights make their memorable run to the Stanley Cup Finals. We've always been good neighbors, Davis said. It's important for us to be involved and to be active in the community and show our support. It's just who we are. In the Aces and Golden Knights, Davis has found two peers sharing the mutual experience of establishing Las Vegas as a professional sports town. For decades, professional sports in Las Vegas was frowned upon due to the gambling influence and market size. But with views on gambling shifting over the past decade and Las Vegas emerging as one of the fastest growing communities in the country, the timing was right for the NFL and NHL to reconsider the long-standing reluctance to put a team here. The Golden Knights, Raiders and Aces landing in the market almost simultaneously creates a partnership of sorts. We kind of look at them as our brothers and sisters, Davis said. We're all in this together. And we're going to be growing this market out together. It's exciting. The key difference being, the Golden Knights are an expansion franchise born and bred in Las Vegas and the Aces were rebranded to reflect their new home after spending the previous 20 years in Salt Lake City and San Antonio. The Raiders' situation is entirely different. They aren't just preparing for the jump to a brand new and relatively untested major professional sports market, they are doing so while saying a prolonged, drawn-out goodbye to the region they've called home on and off for 44 years. With no viable temporary stadium in place in Las Vegas, think the Coliseum for the Rams and StubHub Center for the Chargers, the Raiders will spend at least 2018 and likely 2019 in the Bay Area while their new stadium is being built. It's an unprecedented, delicate balancing act trying to endear themselves to their future market without offending their current home. That's the toughest part of this whole thing, Davis said. As excited as I am about the Las Vegas opportunity and what we're doing here, I certainly don't want to overstate it at this time because I still want to show respect to the fans up in Oakland and to the Raider Nation as a whole. They're the greatest fans in the world, in Oakland, and we've never said anything different. Throughout this whole process, it's never been about the lack of fans or the lack of their passion for the Raiders. It's never, ever been that. And whenever I've had a chance to reiterate that, I have. It all came down to the public entities and where they felt their efforts should be placed. And obviously we didn't rank number one. They took the approach that why should we give you money, and it was never about them giving us money. And I've said that a number of times. All we ever asked for was help to stay in the Bay Area. It's the most beautiful place in the world. We've got the greatest fans in the world up there. But we needed a place that would allow us to compete financially with the rest of the NFL. Las Vegas and Nevada boldly stepped up as that landing spot, tapping into their prominence as a year-round destination hub to pledge $750 million toward stadium construction costs through a hotel tax increase that went into effect last March and works out to an extra $1.50 per night on a Nevada hotel bill. Of that, $1 goes to stadium construction and the rest to the Las Vegas Convention Center. That's an incredible amount of money to commit to a stadium, but Nevada is confident the tax revenue generated by the estimated 450,000 out-of-towners traveling to Las Vegas each year specifically to attend 46 annual events at the new stadium will easily exceed the cost necessary to pay off the bonds purchased to cover the $750 million contribution. We decided to invest that money because of the tax revenue, because we think it will create 6,000 jobs in the community, some at the stadium, but most in the hotels and companies that service the hotels up and down the strip, said Hill. And it will obviously create a great construction project and put a bunch of construction workers to work. In a nutshell, Nevada will invest $50 million per year from the hotel room tax back into paying off the bonds over the next 30 years, of which $20 million per year will go toward a built-in debt service reserve pool that will cover any potential shortfall. That $20 million per year, combined with an already set-aside $47 million in financed debt service reserve, will mean more than $100 million will be set aside within the next 4 years to cover any increment in which the tax hike estimate misses its mark. So there's virtually no risk that these bonds will have any shortfall at all, said Hill. And as of right now, we're already slightly ahead of our projections. Keep in mind, while that $100 million is on hand for emergency use, it will also be sitting in a bank collecting interest. Assuming it stays intact and grows, Nevada will have the option at some point 26 or 27 years down the line to either reinvest it into stadium upgrades or use it to pay off the bonds early. Either way, Nevada believes it's created a fail-safe situation. With Nevada's financial risk covered, the chance to lure an NFL franchise to Las Vegas was too good to pass up. No surprise, then, the state approved the tax hike to come up with the $750 million contribution. All the better considering the Raiders would be joining the NHL's Golden Knights. Having both of those teams call Las Vegas home is a great benefit to making sure that Las Vegas stays the entertainment capital of the world while also becoming, I believe, the sports capital of the world, said Hill. It's the next reinvention of Las Vegas. All in due time, at least in terms of the Raiders officially landing here. In the meantime, the balancing act continues. And that includes securing a home site for the 2019 after the lease with the Oakland Alameda Coliseum expires. The hope is to play the final in the Bay Area before the move to Las Vegas, although that's not guaranteed at this point. If not, expect to hear talk about the possibility of the Raiders playing in San Antonio or even San Diego to start making the rounds. As far as the gap between the announcement of the move and the actual moving into the stadium, it's a tough one, Davis said. But we want to try and bring a championship to the Bay Area. If we do, that will be fantastic. If we don't, I can assure you we will have given it all we could to make that happen. http://embed.send2news.com/omd/fk=zob4afjad=8130 sound =offermat=jason offset =o offset =o float width =400 float position =bottom dash right float =on